This is the Mistborn versus Red Rising Trilogy Showdown. Era 1, Mistborn versus what I'm going to call Era 1, Red Rising. Brandon Sanderson versus Pierce Brown. We have 8 categories, 1 point per category. We're going to see who the definitive winner is. Before we get too deep into it, drop your selection in the comments below. Who is your winner? Sanderson or Brown? Mistborn or Red Rising? This is a very difficult decision. I have a tiebreaker lined up in case it's 4-4 at the end. We never know. These are great trilogies. So let's get into it. Category 1, main character, MC, if you will. We have Darrow versus Vin. We have 3 subcategories: combat prowess, aura, yes, Daddy, and just likability. Combat prowess is a simple 1v1. Who wins in a fight? And I think this answer is clear. I don't think anybody can debate that in a straight up fight, Vin destroys Darrow. Vin has magic, Darrow does not. Allomancy versus no allomancy, there's no chance. You don't have a chance. If Vin, for some reason, doesn't have her powers, she's got no medals, then Darrow mops the floor with her. That's not a question. But Vin's going to have metal. And 99 times out of 100, Vin's going to win that fight. So, combat prowess, Vin. Sorry. But then we get to aura. And my man Darrow has had aura since the moment he walked into his first room with some golds as a surgically modified gold. He wasn't even a real gold, and he still had people taking orders from him from day 1. Darrow's aura is unmatched, in my humble opinion. So aura goes to Darrow. And then we get to likability. I really like Vin. In fact, I love Vin. Vin's my favorite FMC. That's female main character for those of you that don't know the lingo. Vin holds a special place in my heart. But my man Darrow. I love Darrow. There are very few characters, and I mean very few, that I love more than Darrow. And Vin's just not quite one of them. So, main character point goes to Red Rising. Pierce Brown is up 1-0 against Brandon Sanderson. Let's move on to category 2. Category 2 is world building. And I think that this one is actually a pretty easy category. Mistborn had impeccable world building. Absolutely wonderful. The mists alone gave you just the perfect, wonderfully creepy, weird, but magical atmosphere all at the same time. You could picture yourself in every city that they went to. They were all described so impeccably. I think just the concept of describing a world that's filled with mist and ash and people that have never seen a blue sky or a colorful flower just really puts you into that world. It feels alien, and Sanderson did an amazing job with that. And I don't want to say that Red Rising falls short on world building, but when you compare it to Mistborn, it does. It's super well done, and it's fantastic from start to finish, but there's so many different places, and I think that this really focused way more on the characters and the plot than it did on the world building specifically. And I think that Mistborn really takes the cake here in the world building. So I'm giving the point right away to Mistborn. Brandon Sanderson has tied it up 1-1. Moving on to category 3. Category 3 is combat. And Red Rising's combat is insane. The razor matches, the space fights between all the different ships, the iron reigns. Combat in this is exciting. It's exquisite. I absolutely loved it. It kept me on the edge of my seat from start to finish. But this is allomancy. And allomancy is just a whole different level. There's so much strategy involved at the same time as everything being insanely cool. But you have to really think about what you're gonna do. If you don't know the consequences of everything that you're doing as an Allomancer, you could kill yourself. And then you get into a fight with another Allomancer. You could be fighting a Misting or a Mistborn. You don't know what kind of magic they have. You don't know what kind of metals they can burn. You don't know what's gonna come at you, and you need to be prepared for all of the eventualities. And I think that that made the fighting in this that much more exciting because there was just so much strategy behind everything. You had to be a strategic thinker in every fight and in everything that you did with your magic, with your Allomancy. So point, Mistborn. Brandon Sanderson takes the lead 2-1. Let's move on to category 4. Category 4, plot and pacing. We're lumping them together and we're giving pacing immediately to Red Rising. I don't think there were many pacing issues in this, but the politics in this were slightly drawn out for me. Just a little bit. Were they necessary? I think so. Were they boring? No. I gave this entire series incredible ratings. I was not bored at any point. But if I'm comparing the pacing to Red Rising, there was not a lull at any point during this entire trilogy for me. So pacing goes Red Rising, but plot is infinitely more important than pacing, especially if you don't even really think that this has pacing issues. And plot is just so impeccably well thought out by Sanderson in this book. The plot of Red Rising, the ending to Morningstar, is still, I think, my favorite ending, even when I compare it to the ending of the Hero Ages. That is a very hard sell, and many of you are going to disagree with that. It's very close, but everything that adds up to this ending makes this trilogy's plot better than this. The crumbs that Sanderson spreads through this entire trilogy are just so expertly laid out. You think back on it when you get to the end, you're like, how did I not see that? How could I have not known that was coming? And then you're just so excited that that's exactly how it lined up. You're just, what a genius. What an absolute genius. This was so good. Plot goes to Mistborn. And that means category 4, plot and pacing, goes to Mistborn. Sanderson is up 3-1. We need a comeback from Red Rising. I cannot accept a complete wipeout here. Category 5, characters other than the main character, of course. Otherwise known as side characters, but many of these side characters are also main characters in their own right. So, we have Kelsier, we have Breeze, we have Cezanne, we have Ham, we have Dox, we have Zane, we have the Lord Ruler. Over here, we have Mustang, we have Victra, we have Pax, we have the Jackal, we got Roke, and most importantly, we have Sevro, the Goblin, Albarca. Oh, I thought that already told you. Red Rising wins. Characters, Red Rising. Sorry. I love these characters, but I love these ones more. That's not even a question. And the thing about these two is that I didn't hate anybody in this trilogy. I disliked some characters. There were some real pieces of shits in here, but not like I hated the Jackal in here. Not like I hated a couple others that I will not say out loud because this is a non-spoiler video. But the fact that you can make me truly hate some characters really sets the bar for me. That puts this into 5-star category way more than when you can't quite make me hate a character. I need to feel that visceral rage for a fictional character. So, character, point, Red Rising, 2 to 3. Category 6, emotional impact. Now, I know what you're thinking if you've read both of these. You're going to say, Mistborn, the ending, what could be more emotionally impactful than the ending of the Hero of Ages? See, that's the thing. If we're comparing the emotional impact of simply the ending, I gotta give this to Mistborn. But I did not have emotional highs and lows throughout this whole series. I didn't have that. There was exciting moments. There weren't any real instances where you felt truly afraid for characters. Not terribly. There was one instance, and there was a massive twist in the Well of Ascension, and I think that many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. With the Kandra. That blew my ever-loving mind. But the emotional highs and lows that I had in this were second to none. I could not figure out where I was half the time. This thing just twisted me and turned me and threw me across the room and then stomped on me. This one had way more emotional impact for me. The ending of this, I will think about for a very long time, but the entirety of this, I will think about for a very long time. So, point, Red Rising. We're tied up, 3 to 3. Going into category 7, which is writing style. This one was the most difficult category for me because the writing style doesn't mean as much to me as everything else that we've talked about. There are beautiful prose, there are quotable moments in many books, but I think that each one of these writers writes very well. Especially, it's in a style that I think is really understandable, really nice to read. There's not a lot of difficulty. I wouldn't call either one of their prose very flowery in any way, but they're still very nice and well written, in my opinion. But the writing style point is going to go to Sanderson for me, because Pierce gets better as you go along, in my opinion. Red Rising's good. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved Red Rising. But I think that his writing style gets better in Golden Sun, and then even better in Morningstar. Whereas, I think Sanderson was perfectly consistent all the way through. And I think that the writing style that he showed in The Hero of Ages was already present in Mistborn. And I think that it was good all the way through. And for that, I'm giving the point to Sanderson because of the consistency. So writing style, point, Mistborn, 4 to 3. Category 8, overall experience. This is a wild card. This is, which one did I like more? This is, which one would I reread first? And that point is going to Red Rising. This is important because the thing about Mistborn is it was a mystery, and that was exciting. It truly was, and I love that aspect about it. But for me, that makes the reread value go down just a little bit. I think that you're still gonna find Easter eggs when you go through it, especially when you've read the rest of the Cosmere and you get to see a lot of other things that maybe you'll recognize once you go back through this. But still, the mystery that was there, the thing that excited me the most about this was the mystery and the breadcrumbs that I didn't see adding up. And now, when I go back through this, I will. And that will take a little bit away from it. Whereas this, I just know 100% for certain that I will reread this. I will reread every one of these books and the other 3 that are sitting on my shelf, without a doubt. Will I reread this? I might. I think that it would be good, and I think that I probably might, but I can't for sure say yes. This I can for sure say yes. I know for a fact I will reread this. Point. Red Rising, 4 to 4. Did I plan this? No, actually I didn't. I wrote down the categories, and then I thought about who was gonna win each category, and then I thought, well, shit. we might need a tiebreaker. And I have one. Most badass moment. There is one most badass moment for me in this book, and there is one most badass moment for me in this book. In this one, Vin versus the Inquisitors at the end of Hero of Ages. We will not get into details, but that was insane. I've said it before, that it made me think of Gohan versus the Cell Juniors during the Cell games. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't read this book, you're gonna wanna know. But the gala scene, Darrow and Cassius. There is nothing more badass in any book that I've ever read than that scene. And Golden Sun's not even my favorite book in the trilogy. Morning Stars. Many of you think that's probably crazy, but it's true. But because of that scene, I cannot give that point to Mistborn. As much as I want to give it to my girl Vin and that fight with the Inquisitors, which was impeccable, it's going to my boy Darrow and Pierce Brown and Red Rising, which means we have a definitive winner in Red Rising. Red Rising is better than Mistborn. I said it, okay? But in all honesty, these are two of my favorite trilogies of all time. And maybe, no, not maybe, these are my top two favorite trilogies of all time. Regardless of which one sounded better to you, if you've never read either one of these, doesn't matter which one you start with. They're both phenomenal. Give them both a try. If I'm going to tell you which one to start with, I am probably going to pick Red Rising. Red Rising is my favorite, but this is the closest you could possibly get to dethroning this. I love them both. Sanderson, Brown, I love you both. Thanks for creating the greatest trilogies that I've ever read. We'll see y'all next time.